I am not going to more theory part. Actually, I want to tell about the servers. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell about what is server. Okay, so I have to tell about what is server, what is work group and domain. Okay, again I have to tell about what is active directory, what is active directory. Okay, so next one is what is active directory databases, their names and all, how to tell. So this is a complete theory is there. So first of all, how much time, that is very important here, and very less people are there. That's very less. Only 14. It means only 13 members are there out of 30. So what I will do? So I will do practical directly. Theory I will tell Monday morning. Okay. So I will explain all these things Monday morning, but I will explain what we are going to do. First one is, here it is. Okay. So I already installed a Windows server. So few are the settings we have to do it. Okay. And we'll create a domain controller kind of stuff. So its meaning is, first what we are going to do is, okay, so I'm going to change my server name. I'm going to change my server name. Name means it is a host name only. Host name or computer name I'm changing. Because it is again, it is without explaining what is domain kind of stuff. It is sometimes it may give you a little confused, but so change the computer name. Next, assign a static IP address to the server. So these are all everything we do in a server only. We are doing everything in the server. We have to assign a static IP address. Next, I have to install the role. The role name is Active Directory Domain Services. Role name is Active Directory Domain Services. Okay, Active Directory Domain Services we have to install. After that one, we have to configure domain controller. That role, because of this role only, we can make this server as a domain controller. Okay. Of course, remaining is there. So these are the steps we have to do starting. But I want to explain, right? So that is also there. So I will explain once. So look at here, guys. This is my centralized server. If you remember, our client computer means our computers. If you remember, I will give you a small introduction. It's not a small, but I will give you some information. Okay. Every PC has their own user, right? In my computer, in my Windows 10, I have a user account. So in my C1, I have a student one account is there. Okay? I have a student one account is there. For example, user one account is there. This is my C1, C2, C3 computers are there. Every computer having a account. For example, username is how to put a username. What happening sound? Okay, so for example, it is user, right? So yeah, I have a user one, user two, user three. I'll put a A1 is a user, A2 is user here, A3 is user here. Okay, so A1 information stores in this machine only. A2 information store in this machine only. A3 information store in this machine only. Okay. So A1 can able to log into C1. A2 can able to log into C2. A3 can able to log into C3 only. Okay. Sorry. A1 is log into C1. A2 is log into C2. A3 is log into C3 only. A1 cannot log in C1. Sorry, C2. A1 cannot log into C2. Same thing, A1 cannot log into C3 also. Understand, guys? So these are the work group systems. These are a work group system. There are in a group, in a network, so they can able to share as a group. Why group? So by itself, the meaning of a group, by meaning of a group, if computer are in a group or a work group, in a work group, so there is a certain sharing things are become more common. Means things like we are belongs to same group, so we can easily share kind of stuff. We can easily access the printer kind of stuff. But every user has an individual identity here. Every PC has their own administrator. Every PC has their own administrator. Every PC having their own admin. Okay. Every PC having their own administrator. For example, first account is nothing but a administrator. Okay. So one PC administrator cannot administrate second PC. One PC administrator cannot control other PCs. Okay. So this is called a work group. No centralized dependency, no centralized administration. So here it is. Work group is centralized administration. Decentralized administration. Each has their own admin account. No centralized admin. No centralized administration. No centralized administrator. Otherwise, or centralized administrator. One system user cannot log into other system. Admin of a system can control local policies and all, can control that system only. Okay, that system only. Next, user information stores and authentication. Authentication means username and password. Authentication means username and password stores in that PC only, system or PC or host. This is finally a work group. Okay. Domain. So what is a domain? It is a centralized administration. Okay. Centralized administration, guys. People who are not able to come, so I don't know, but you guys, you should tell people if you are in a you are all in a different groups. Compulsory tell to everyone. So compulsory go to this one. These are a very basic questions. In interview, only they will ask first is a basic questions only. It's a most common question is what is the difference between work group and domain? Work group and domain. So it is a centralized administration. Okay. Okay. Here it is. So what is this centralized administration kind of stuff? Look at here. For example, okay. For example, okay. For example, if this PC is down, A1 cannot log into other PCs. If this PC is down, A1 cannot log into other PCs. To do that one, again you have to create a account A1 in other PCs. Yeah. What happening? Okay, Mike Palam, I think so. Okay, here it is. If my C1 is down, A1 means A1 is a user cannot log into any other PCs. So if A1 want to work in this particular PC, you have to create extra account in this PCs. So then only user can able to log in other PCs. Okay, you have to create that account, otherwise he can't log in. Okay, so this is another problem with the work group, a problem with the work group. Next, work group is like a example of best to understand work group is if you went to the hotel, it is like a self service type. Okay, it means you have to go to take a you have to pay amount and take a token, get the food, right? Self service hotels, you went to self service hotels, what to do? Pay amount, take a token, go there and show the token, get the food, eat the food, right? Like that. That is self-service. For example, if I have a printer, listen carefully, guys. If I have a printer, okay, this printer, okay, so I want to access the printer. Again, I should know how to access the printer, what is the IP address of the printer, what is the username of the printer, passwords, everything. So to communicate this one, To connect this one, I need to know how to communicate. So every PC should know how to do it. So that is a self-service type. Okay. Next, I want to put a certain settings in each and every PC. I want to put a certain settings in each and every PC. Guys, if you remember local group policy kind of stuff, if you have to go to one PC, can you do settings? Anyone, please? If you are going to a PC, can you do certain settings? Like desktop settings, network settings? Yes, we can do. I give you 10 computers. Can we do 10 computer settings?
Yes, but it will take some time.
It will take some time. 100 computers.
No, sir.
You
By
will tell. Right? We can do it, but completely exhausted, no go to home kind of stuff. We need a very big team. Very good. We need a very big team. Okay. Not just taking time, like a 10 computers take time, but 100 computers, we need a very big time, more people requirement is there, management is there. So that's why what we are going to do is centralized management. Centralized management. Okay. That's why this concept is came up. Guys, always remember this point. One, okay. One is on our hand. This is my laptop. I can handle 10 computers. Okay. In our Pune office, we have a 30 computers. Even I managed to go do 30 computers, but it took me 2 days or 3 days maximum time. Okay. For format and everything. Like now if office opens, if in case maybe next month or after 2 months. Okay. So not at the computers are not, the classes are not taking in a Pune office. Okay, only office is open, but our classes are not taking. So what we do, still computers are not touching. So if in case classes started, I have to format every computer, clean the computers and everything, right? To get ready all the 30 computers or 25 computers at least we required. So to that one, what I have to do? I'll have to take 3 to 4 days. Time taken, exhaust. If boss said completed by 2 days, full pressure, right? 30 computers. What about a 250 computers? What about 500 computers? What about 1,000 computers? So what is the solution here? Do simple, that is centralized. Anything is more single management is okay, or multiple things difficult. Very large scale. What is the thing? Centralized. Centralized. So what is this centralized? It contains a database. The centralized server has a database called a Active Directory database. Okay. We create a users, groups, computers in this one. I put a users, user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5, like this. And also I will add computers, C1. Actually, this is the thing I said now, I have to explain, but I'm explaining now only. C3, okay. So I add a computers information here, these computer information and user information. If you need a group information like that, printer information. So this is the information maintained by this Active Directory. So this is nothing but a domain controller. This is nothing but a domain controller. So in this domain controller, so what we are doing here, it is we are managing a domain. So what is this domain? It is a logical administrative boundary of users and computers. Okay. So what happened with the domain controller? Look at here. My user 1 is there. My user 1 is there. So user 1, this is user 1 want to log into C1. User 2 log into C2. User 3 log into C3. Now they log in. Completed. Tomorrow, user 1 want to log in C2. User 4 log into C1. User 5 want to log into C3. Yes, they can log in. Think like shift duties. Think like shifts. First shift, user 1, user 2, user 3 login. Second shift, user 3, so user 4, okay, and user 2 login here, and user 5 login here. Maybe tomorrow there are randomly like a user 3 login here, user 1 login here, user 2 login here. So users can be login any system. Why? Because of the user information and computer information stores in the centralized machine, centralized server. In the domain controller only, your user information stores. When the user is login, request go to central system and it got authenticated. User got authenticated in the central system only. Okay. User name, user passwords not store in the local computer. It stores in this one only. And this server having an admin. This server having an administrator is the administrator of all your domain. Entire your domain administrator is one single server administrator only. That's why it is called as a centralized server. Next, as I said, local group policies or any settings for one single machine, you have to go to single machine, you have to do settings. But here it is, we can enforce settings from single server to all the computers. You can enforce a group policies kind of stuff to all the computers. For example, printer information, I can add it to all the computers from single central server only. So this is our domain. So what is it? Domain or Active Directory domain is a centralized administration. Okay, centralized administration. Okay, admin of have a centralized administrator. Administrator is a account or a person is admin of all devices in domain. Okay, user and computer information source in central server. Okay. Users authenticate by central server. Central server also called as domain controller. Okay, domain controller. We can enforce various type of settings to large number of users and computers to group policies. So this is a domain. Next, Active Directories came up, but I'm typing one statement here. AD domain. AD domain. AD domain means, okay, logical administrative boundary of users and computers. Logical administrative boundary of users and computers. When you type normally, you can type it. Logical administrative boundary of users and computers. So to understand that one, I will give you one example here. If you clearly observe this thing, you can understand what I am trying to say. This computer name is C4. Okay, local account name is A4. Now, can I log in with U5 here or not?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. Any other?
Sir, I think we need a domain controller permission.
Good. Okay. Good. So look at my domain controller database, current database. What are the computers list here? C1, C2, C3 only. It means these are a domain computers. C1, C2, C3 are in my domain. C4 is in my domain or not? As per this, it is in the network. Is it in a domain or not? As per this list.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not there, right?
Not in the
So,
domain, sir.
if you are not in my domain, my domain user won't log in. We can't log in here. Okay, it is in a separate group. So one of my sir told me an example. So there is a XYZ party and ABC party is there, for example. You are a member. For example, you are a member of XYZ party. So you cannot go to ABC's party until unless you are resigning from it. Same thing. It is a membership, domain membership, workgroup membership, or other domain membership. If you are belongs to a domain, so that is you are belongs to that domain only. For example, if you are a member of my party, I will give you 1,000 rupees every month. If you are a member of my party, I will give you 1,000 rupees for every month. So there is a other person who is not in my party. Is this person not in my party? Is going to get a money or not? Generally.
No, sir.
Because rule
No,
is?
sir, he did not get it.
Rule
Because
is?
he is not a member of the.
Yes. Rule is, I said give the money to members only. Give the money to members only, not outsiders, not non-members. So that's a very simple to understand. So similarly like this one. Okay. So this is the whole story of your work group and domain, and it is a logical boundary. It means the domain has a limitation. Okay. So this is work group and domain, very important one. Active Directory is Active Directory database. Source identity of users, computers. Yes, computer means a machine. It means it can be a server, it can be a normal Windows 10, or it can be a something like a Linux machine like that. So computer is a computer. That's it. Okay. So until unless you specified what type of computer it is. Okay. So Windows users, computers, group, resources, and services. Information of stores, information of or identity of users, groups, computers, resources, and services. And okay, also it is also do Active Directory also do authenticate users and computers when they log into domain. So why, how it is possible? Because of user and computer information stored in domain controller only. Okay, so who is this domain controller? Again, guys, domain controller is nothing but a server which holds or has ADDS role and configured as domain controller. Okay, not only that one, of course, Active Directory database stores Active Directory database, authenticate users, provide authentication services. Okay, so that is a main part of domain controller. So domain controller means it contains a ADDS role and it is configured as a domain controller. Store ADDS database and authenticate service. It provide a authentication services. Next, ADDS database. Okay, name is ntds.dit. Any database having a some name, right? So like that, the name of the ADDS database is ntds.dit. Okay, and authentication protocol. So everything is protocol. Authentication protocols are KER, BER, OS. Okay, LDAP. Okay, these are main two protocols we use in the Active Directory. Kerberos. Anybody knows port number for Kerberos?
Oh, sir, we have no idea.
Very good. 88. Kerberos port number is 88. Port numbers are very important. Okay, so maybe few port numbers are difficult to remember, but slowly you have to remember. Okay, but whole port numbers, at least 10-15 port numbers compulsory you should remember. 10 to 15 port numbers. Like many time you have to speak about it. Kerberos is a authentication protocol. We use in a Active Directory authentication. Okay. Yes, ntds.dat abbreviation. When it comes to NT, always new technology, directory, service. There is a dot, right? Directory, information, service. Directory, information, services. Okay, so this is about your work group, domain, and your Active Directory So I thought I skipped the theory part and I will do directly a practical part, but I am unable to skip it. So I said different type of servers are there. What we will do, so the practical part or theory part. So we'll see that those things. Guys, tell all your other friends, those who are unable to attend today. So compulsory go through these things. Get ready, because of these are a common questions. What is Active Directory? What is Active Directory? What is Workgroup and Domain? These two are a very important questions. Different type of servers, that is a question that we'll see. Okay, so this is to do. So this is the some of the things. We'll do it later. There is a lot of theory part also there, guys. Partitions, forest kind of stuff. So we'll see. In domain, it is not much easy to understand. This is a lot of theory is there. Forest, child domain. Okay, so and just the domain. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, forest, tree, and child. Next one is domain controller. Remember, guys, domain controller. Remember a domain. Okay, a domain has a domain controller. Okay, so single domain. Domain is one, but it contains domain controllers, additional domain controllers, RODCs. Okay, DC means domain controller. Additional domain controller. Read only domain controller. Okay, so a domain controller, domain has multiple domain controllers, additional domain controllers, and RO domain controllers also. Domain controllers, additional domain controller, RODCs. Okay, but in one DC is belongs to one domain only. In one domain controller, you can't create multiple domains, but a one domain in one domain, multiple in one domain as multiple domain controllers, additional domain controller, RODCs are there. DC is a primary domain controller again, guys. DC means another name, old name is primary domain controller. Okay, primary. ADC is BDC. Okay, it is a backup. Old name is backup domain controller. RODC no replacement because RODC is a new and read-only domain controllers. Okay, so this is a domain and a domain controller. So I will tell theory next time. I don't tell theory. Okay, so here it is. Look at here. This is the picture. Okay, guys, this is called a forest. Forest means a enterprise. For example, Tata Forest. You take a Tata Forest. Tata is a enterprise. When Tata is started, the first Tata domain is created. So that is called a root domain. So this is called a root domain. Okay, they created a root domain, which is nothing but forest level domain. So when it is created, automatically your forest is created, and it contains a domain controller. So without a domain controller, you can't create a domain, right? So this is a name, for example, tata.com. This is the first domain in the forest. First domain in the forest, also called as root domain. And for Tata company is further developed, and in this forest only, they added a other domain, other business they started. It means other domain is started. For example, it is a tcs.com. For example, it is a tcs.com. So this one we call it as a tree domain. This one we call it as a, guys, remember, every domain compulsory there is a domain controller. Remember, the triangle represent domain, the box represent domain controller. Okay, in each domain we can have a multiple domain controllers, additional domain controllers, RODCs, multiple domain controller 1, domain controller 2, domain controller 3, RODC 1, RODC 2, like that. Multiple domain controllers we can able to create, we can able to put it. Okay, so first one is root, second one is tree. The third one, also create. This is also a tree. This is also tree. I'm not so for example, this is a Tata Motors. For example, it is a Tata Motors. This is also having a domain controller, one or multiple domain controllers. This is also a tree. So what is a tree? Trees are nothing but a domains in the forest. Domains in the forest. What is a forest? Collection of domain and domain trees. Yeah, I have to tell a child domain, right? So that's one more is there. Child is there. Child is subset of another domain. Either it can be here, it can be like this. So like I have a child domain under this one, or under this one also we can able to have a child domain. The child domain carries parent name. Okay, so child domain is not under anything, like it is not like that. It is under some existing domain. For example, I put a electrical at Tata Motors.com. So what happened? It carries a parent name, okay, to the domain name. It is like a subdomain type. So this is child domain. This is child domain. So what I told the list is, first is root domain, means that is my forest creation purpose. Second one is tree and a child. Second option is tree or child. Third option is no. It's the first option. So I've written in a reverse order, but you can change it later. I will change it myself. First thing we discussed about additional ADC or RODC. It means already a domain has, to create a domain, we need a domain controller. Once already domain controller is there, if you want additional domain controller or RODCs, you can able to add it to same domain. Domain is same, but domain controllers are added. Here it is. Already forest is there. You want to add a tree or a child, you can add it. If in case forest is also not there, okay, so like if a domain exists and you want add a domain controller to it, it is a first option. Okay, domain controller means ADC type or RODC. That is first. Means here it is domain must be exist. Here it is you add a domain to existing forest. Means forest must be available. So forest must be available. Without a forest, no tree, no child. Without a forest, no tree, no child. Here it is. You are creating new forest. It means no forest, no domain controller, nothing is there. So this is the freshly you are creating. So these are a three options in a while you are configuring. Okay, you have to choose this option. Okay, so you have to choose this option because we are not yet created anything. Okay, these are the terminologies. Forest is an enterprise collection of domain trees kind of stuff. Okay, child or a tree domain. So it's a tree domain is a domain in the forest. Share common name with the forest. Child has a parent name. It is also domain under some domain, under domain. Okay. So DC RODC is additional domain controller for adding a domain controller to existing domain for failover and load balancing. So these are the structure, names and all. How many people are alive? How many people are dead? Not only this, there is so many things also there. What is OU? What is kind of stuff? So a lot of people are waiting. Okay. So what I'm doing, so this is main terminologies compulsory. You must know the terminology.